lifetime voice of the LA Lakers, Chick Hearn, who's getting ready for his first final since 1991. We'll get his impressions of that Game 7 conference final when we continue up close.
Chick, that's the most emotion I've seen the Lakers players show. How about this crowd? This crowd has been in it since they came back from 16. Let's go! The Lakers crowd, go! Help this team get back. One of the most remarkable comebacks I have ever seen. Go!
Welcome back to Up Close, and that man who's going in the background is Chick Hearn. And Chick, you're there with Stu Lance, who was trying to keep some composure with bedlam breaking out on the court, around you. I know listening to you, you had to stand at one point. You're trying to get Stu to do it with you. Is that as much excitement as you've seen in all these games you've done?
Yeah. That would equal any that I've ever seen. And that goes back to the first championship when Wilt was the center and Jerry West in the backcourt. And then, of course, the magical days with Magic Johnson. And then that great rally yesterday, inconceivable. They're down by 15 with 10.5 to play. And, you know, Portland's dominating the ball game. They couldn't get the ball to Shaq. He might as well have been in jail. They had a great defense against him. And finally, they broke out. Everybody started hitting threes. Portland started missing. That was the ball game.
When you hear that call up, the Kobe alley-oop to Shaq, did you realize what you were even saying at the time?
Oh, heavens, no. No. It's got to come out. And if I planned to say it, I'd probably stumble all over it. But that was a remarkable play. And since Shaq had been bottled up all day, to see him go that high to get the ball and put it back in. And then his expression as he raced down the floor was incomparable. In the Daily News today, there was a picture of him right after that, his hand in the air and so forth, that I've ordered that picture because I want to frame it and put it in my den.
So where does this team rank with all your Laker favorites?
Third. The first team would be Magic Johnson and Byron Scott and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the 80s. They won 5 titles. Mm-hmm. And before that, I'd have to go back to the Chamberlain, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor team, 71-72. They won 33 straight. Think of that. Gary, 33 in a row. Most teams don't get that in a year. But this team would be ranked third right now. They played all year without a real strong power forward. They played without a backup center. And they just put it together under the new coach, Phil Jackson, and his staff. Always remember the staff, because they had a lot to do with it.
It's a good thing John Sally's segment is over. You said they play without a backup center.
They really did. He got $2 million for making jokes.
Take us through the emotions of this Game 7, which is ultra important. You're up 3-1 in this series. Portland comes back and forces you into a Game 7. They're starting to get a little cocky in this thing, and they build a big lead in the first half. Things look pretty grim.
They look very grim. And then, see, the Lakers caught them at 51-50, went in front in the third quarter. And all of a sudden, it's an 18-2 run for Portland. And you know it's all over then. You go to the fourth quarter, Portland's got possession to start the fourth quarter, and they go down and make a hoop. Now they're up by 15 with 10.5 to play. And anybody in his right mind knows it's all over. Never dreaming they could go stone cold. They missed their next 14 shots. And the Lakers started making shots. And it was a roller coaster. It couldn't happen again, probably. If you sent the script to Warner Brothers, they'd send it back.
Shaw claims he could make that bank shot 7 out of 10 if there was money on it.
Yeah, well, he couldn't. He didn't call bank either. But no. That was a big lift. In fact, I noticed that Mike Dunleavy said that. He said it changed the complexion of the game a little bit. Instead of being down by 16 going to the fourth, they were only up by 13. So it was a big shot. Shaw is pretty good.
You've mentioned teams that you liked, and you've also been through all the coaches as well. So you remember Mike Dunleavy from his days on the sidelines down Radio Row from you. What about the job he did in this series?
Oh, tremendous. I would say to you that no other coach could have done what he did defensively. Of course, he had guys with long arms, and that's what you got to have. He had Sabonis, 292 pounds, behind him at 7'3", behind Shaq, and he would drop Pippen off. Pippen was a roamer. He didn't guard anybody in particular, guarded everybody in general. And, of course, then they would drop in Rasheed Wallace. And those three guys, Shaq couldn't get a shot. It was absolutely marvelous, and if you appreciate defense, you had to appreciate the job that Dunleavy and his staff did getting it set up.
Were you getting prepared for what you would have to say in an epitaph for this team at the end, and how would you have what if they had blown this 3-1 lead in Game 7 in their building?
I would say we can't be as disappointed as it would seem. At the moment you're down, all of you fans are down, but remember, they won 67 games this year, and they only lost 15 in the regular season. They've had a remarkable season in the coach's first year, and I think that next year, I've always said all year long, Gary, I kept saying on my broadcast, if the Lakers don't win it this year, I think they will win it next year. I really did. And I think that's going to come to fruition because I think they're going to get a power forward. I think they're going to get a backup center and augment the team with some other personnel that they need.
Well, a lot more to get to with Chick Hearn. Not a lot of time to do it. We'll pick his brain a little bit more on where this team ranks in the all-times. And it looks like if they can get through Indiana, this could be the first of many championships to come. And that's the big reason right there. Kobe Bryant and how he is teamed with Shaq this year as they've come of age. Every weekdays at 5:30 Eastern, mid-afternoon on the West. Hearn, the LA Lakers Hall of Fame announcer, he'll talk about Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal and how the two have matured together this year to take the Lakers to the finals.
Up Close is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Welcome back to Up Close. We continue with the Lakers Hall of Fame announcer, Chick Hearn. And Chick, we talked about it going to break. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. Tell us in your impressions of how these guys have grown in just the last year.
Oh, they had to grow a lot because they weren't close last year. Let's just use that. And they realized, both of them, hey, I'm not going to be as good as I can be without him, and he's not going to be as good, so forth. And so they're very comfortable with each other now. They don't hang out together after the game. They don't have dinner together, but they're friends, very good friends. And I think they've made each other much better.
You've known Larry Bird a long time. Will you have mixed emotions about seeing him against your team in the finals?
Yeah. I like Larry very much. He's a class act, and he's got a good team, and he's a good coach. I'm glad to see him get out of coaching after 3 years.
Really?
Because he wants to have some fun. He wants to live. And you're pretty well tied down when you're the head coach of a franchise in Indiana. Particularly, that's Hoop City. And I think he's done an outstanding. Like the Lakers, they won 36 out of their 41 home games this year, the two best records in the league. Indiana had the third best record overall behind the Lakers and Portland. It's going to be an interesting series. I don't know how it's going to work out in the middle, though. Smith 7-4. I don't know what he can do against Shaq. So far in the two games this year, he did nothing.
What about Phil Jackson coming to this bench in this situation? As I said, you've seen all the coaches come through here. How have you seen him make this his team?
It's the biggest shock of my life, basketball-wise. I went to camp with him. First day, he was teaching him how to properly bounce the ball on the dribble. He was teaching him how to catch the ball, proper extension of fingers, the way the thumbs would be placed for receiving the ball. Things you would teach kids in third grade. Teaching them how to pivot. Little things. And I thought, they're not going to win 30 games this year. And boy, he stayed with it and stayed with it and stayed with it. The triangle is tough. A couple of guys got cut that could be pretty good players with other teams, but they couldn't learn the triangle offense. And so big surprise, outstanding.
Well, hopefully you're going to get another ring on your finger for your sake and for the Lakers' sake. And the Pacers, of course, hope that they can deny that. But it's a pleasure having you up close, Chick, and we hope to keep going forever. It seems like you've been doing it forever, so keep it going.
I'd like to.
I'm Gary Miller.